The United States of America 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Half Dollar is one of the most historically symbolic and widely recognized commemorative circulating coins ever issued by the U.S. Mint, created to honor the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the birth of the United States as a nation. An event that took place in 1776 and marked the formal separation of the American colonies from British rule. This special half dollar was authorized by Congress and struck for circulation beginning in 1975 and continuing through 1976, bearing the dual date 1776 to 1976 instead of the usual single year to emphasize the bicentennial celebration, and unlike standard commemorative coins that are often limited and sold only to collectors. This coin was intentionally released into everyday commerce so that ordinary Americans could participate directly in the national celebration through daily use, making it both a historical artifact and a cultural object of shared memory. The obverse of the coin retains the familiar left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, which had appeared on the half dollar since 1964 following his assassination, symbolizing continuity and national unity, and above Kennedy's head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has been used on U.S. coinage since the 19th century and was officially adopted as the national motto in 1956, reflecting the historical role of faith and moral conviction in American public life, while the word liberty arcs prominently around the upper rim of the coin, representing one of the core ideals upon which the nation was founded, and the mint mark, when present, appears near the truncation of Kennedy's neck, with no mint mark indicating the Philadelphia Mint, a D indicating the Denver Mint, and an S indicating the San Francisco Mint. The reverse design of the bicentennial half dollar is entirely unique and was selected through a national design competition, ultimately created by artist Seth G. Huntington, and it features Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the very building where the Declaration of Independence was debated and adopted, and later where the U.S. Constitution was drafted, making it a powerful visual symbol of American self-government and constitutional democracy, with the building shown in detailed yet balanced relief, flanked by the inscriptions United States of America along the top and half dollar along the bottom. While above Independence Hall appears the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, a foundational motto of the United States that reflects the unification of 13 distinct colonies into a single nation and continues to symbolize unity amid diversity. The bicentennial half dollar was produced in several compositions and finishes, including standard copper-nickel-clad versions intended for circulation, as well as special collector versions struck in 40% silver, which were sold in both uncirculated and proof formats, primarily minted at the San Francisco Mint, and while the circulating versions were made in extremely large quantities, numbering in the hundreds of millions, the silver issues were produced in smaller numbers and marketed directly to collectors as part of official bicentennial coin sets, contributing to their higher intrinsic and collectible value. Despite their age, most bicentennial half dollars found today in circulation are worth only their face value of 50 cents unless they are in exceptional uncirculated condition or are part of the silver series, though their true value often lies more in their historical and educational significance than in monetary worth, as they serve as tangible reminders of the bicentennial era, a time marked by nationwide celebrations, renewed interest in American history, patriotic expression, and reflection on the country's achievements and challenges over 2 centuries. The coin also represents a transitional moment in U.S. numismatics, as it was one of the last times the half dollar saw widespread public attention before gradually disappearing from everyday use in later decades, and it stands as an example of how coinage can function not merely as currency, but as a medium of national storytelling, embedding key ideals such as liberty, unity, faith, and democratic governance into metal form. Today, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy bicentennial half dollar is commonly studied in libraries, classrooms, and collections as an accessible entry point into American numismatic history, often used to teach students and enthusiasts about symbolism on coins, the meaning of national mottos, the history of Independence Hall, the role of commemorative issues, and the broader context of the American Revolution and bicentennial celebrations, making it an enduring artifact that connects everyday Americans, both past and present, to the foundational moments, shared values, and evolving identity of the United States of America. The next top. The United States of America half-dollar dated 1971 is an important coin in modern U.S. numismatic history, officially known as the Kennedy half-dollar, a series introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy following his assassination in 1963. The 1971 issue specifically represents a transitional period in American coinage because it was produced entirely from a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than silver, marking a decisive move away from precious metal circulating coins due to rising silver prices and economic pressures. The obverse front of the coin features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, with strong, dignified facial details symbolizing leadership, optimism, and national unity. Above Kennedy's head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase adopted as the official motto of the United States in 1956, reflecting the country's historical belief in divine guidance and moral responsibility, while the word liberty curves prominently along the upper rim of the coin, representing freedom, democracy, and the foundational ideals upon which the nation was established. Beneath Kennedy's portrait is the date, 1971, identifying the year of minting and placing the coin within the broader historical context of the Cold War era, the Vietnam War, and major social and political changes in the United States. The reverse, back, of the 1971 half-dollar was designed by Frank Gasparo and displays the presidential seal, dominated by a powerful heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, clutching an olive branch in its right talon to symbolize peace and a bundle of arrows in its left talon to represent military strength and readiness, illustrating the nation's commitment to peace while maintaining the ability to defend itself. A shield covers the eagle's chest, signifying protection of the American people and the sovereignty of the nation, while above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states of the Union, emphasizing unity and federalism. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions, "United States of America" along the top and half-dollar along the bottom, clearly identifying the issuing authority and denomination of the coin, while the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one, appears on a banner held in the eagle's beak, reinforcing the idea that the United States is a single nation formed from many states, cultures, and peoples. The 1971 half-dollar has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a weight of 11.34 grams, and a reeded, grooved edge, characteristics that align with modern U.S. half-dollars and aid in durability and anti-counterfeiting. It was minted primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and while it was intended for circulation, many examples were saved by collectors due to the continued popularity of the Kennedy design. Although the 1971 half-dollar contains no silver and therefore does not have intrinsic precious metal value, it holds cultural, historical, and educational significance as a symbol of American identity, political memory, and evolving monetary policy, making it a meaningful piece for collectors, historians, and anyone interested in the story of U.S. coinage and national symbolism. The next top. The United States of America 1973 D half-dollar is part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series, a denomination introduced in 1964 to honor President John Fitzgerald Kennedy following his assassination, and the 1973 D issue was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark found on the obverse below the truncated bust of Kennedy. This coin was produced during a transitional era in U.S. coinage when silver had been removed from circulating half-dollars, making the 1973 D. Composed of a copper-nickel-clad structure with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a reeded edge, consistent with modern half-dollars. The obverse design, created by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy with strong, clean lines, surrounded by the national motto, "In God We Trust," which appears split on either side of the bust, and the word Liberty arching along the upper rim, while the date, 1973, is placed below the portrait, symbolizing both national ideals and the continuing legacy of Kennedy's presidency. The reverse, designed by Frank Asparo, displays a heraldic bald eagle derived from the presidential seal, clutching an olive branch and a bundle of arrows to represent peace and strength, with a shield on its chest symbolizing national defense, encircled by 50 stars representing the states of the Union, and the inscriptions United States of America along the top and $50 along the bottom, while the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, appears above the eagle, emphasizing unity among the states. The 1973 $50 holds particular interest for collectors because $50 were not struck for general circulation that year and were instead released primarily through mint sets, meaning that while the mintage of the Denver issue was relatively high, these coins were not commonly seen in everyday commerce, contributing to their reputation as overlooked or underappreciated pieces of American numismatic history. In terms of condition, most surviving examples are found in uncirculated or lightly handled states, often with strong luster, though contact marks can be present due to the minting and packaging methods of the time. Historically, the coin reflects the economic and cultural environment of the early 1970s in the United States, a period marked by inflation, changes in monetary policy, and shifting public attitudes toward coinage, as larger denominations like the $50 gradually disappeared from daily use. While the 1973 Kennedy $50 does not contain precious metal and is generally valued modestly, unless in high mint state grades, it remains an important educational and historical piece for libraries, collectors, and students of American currency, encapsulating national symbolism, presidential memorialization, and the evolution of U.S. coinage through its inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, and United States of America, which together convey the foundational values, unity, and identity of the nation in a single enduring artifact. The next top. The United States of America 1974 $50 is a copper-nickel-clad coin of the Kennedy $50 series, a series first introduced in 1964 to honor the memory of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy following his assassination in November 1963, and the 1974 issue represents a mature stage of the series when the coin had fully transitioned from precious metal composition into a circulation-focused, base metal coin intended for everyday commerce, though by the 1970s it was already becoming scarce in actual circulation due to public hoarding. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary U.S. mint facilities responsible for high-volume coinage, and the obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, based on a presidential medal Roberts had previously created, with the word Liberty arching across the top edge of the coin in bold capital letters, symbolizing the foundational American ideal. The national motto, In God We Trust, placed horizontally to the left of Kennedy's neck as an expression of spiritual heritage and national faith, and the date, 1974, positioned below the bust near the rim. The reverse, designed by Frank Asparo, displays the presidential seal, dominated by a powerful heraldic eagle with outstretched wings holding an olive branch in one talon to represent peace, and arrows in the other to represent strength and readiness to defend the nation, surrounded by a ring of stars symbolizing the states of the Union, with the inscriptions United States of America along the top rim and $50 along the bottom to clearly state the coin's country of origin and denomination, while the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, appears on a banner above the eagle, reinforcing the theme of unity among the states. Composition-wise, the 1974 $50 is made of a clad sandwich structure consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a reeded edge, distinguishing it from the earlier 1964 issue, which was 90% silver, and the 1965 to 1970 issues, which still contained 40% silver, making the 1974 D strictly non-silver and therefore primarily of historical and collectible interest rather than bullion value. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced over 79 million 1974 D half dollars, a very large number reflecting the U.S. Mint's continued expectation that the denomination would circulate widely, even though in practice Americans increasingly remove half dollars from circulation as souvenirs, savings pieces, or collectibles due to their size, association with Kennedy, and lingering public perception of silver value, which means that many examples survive today in uncirculated condition, especially those saved in rolls or mint bags. Numismatically, the 1974 D half dollar is generally considered common, with most circulated examples holding only face value, while uncirculated coins typically carry modest premiums depending on condition, with coins graded MS 65 and higher by professional grading services commanding stronger prices due to their sharp strikes, intact luster, and minimal contact marks. And while there are no famous major errors unique to this date, collectors still search for minor varieties such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, which can increase value. Significantly, historically, the coin reflects the broader economic and cultural environment of the mid-1970s United States, a period marked by inflation, the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, and shifting public trust in government, making the continued presence of phrases like "In God We Trust" and "E pluribus unum" especially meaningful as symbolic affirmations of unity and faith during uncertain times. And today, the 1974 D. Kennedy half dollar stands as a tangible artifact of American monetary history, presidential commemoration, and the evolution of U.S. coinage from precious metals to modern clad compositions, valued not for rarity, but for its role in preserving national memory, artistic tradition, and the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy. The next top. The United States of America 1978 half dollar is part of the long-running Kennedy half dollar series, a coin that carries deep historical, political, artistic, and cultural significance, and its inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "E pluribus unum," connect it directly to the core ideals of the nation and the broader tradition of American coinage. The half-dollar denomination itself dates back to 1794, but the Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, as a tribute to his legacy and impact on the American people. By 1978, the coin had been in circulation for 14 years and had transitioned fully into a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the earlier silver content. The 1978 half dollar was minted at two United States mint facilities, Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark, and both versions share the same basic design elements. On the obverse, the coin features a left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, with the word "Liberty" arching along the upper rim. The national motto, "In God We Trust," placed horizontally to the left and right of Kennedy's neckline, and the date, 1978, positioned at the bottom. This arrangement reflects a balance between symbolism and readability, emphasizing both democratic freedom and spiritual heritage. The motto, "In God We Trust," which became mandatory on U.S. coins in the mid-20th century, represents the historical connection between national identity and faith, and its inclusion on the half-dollar reinforces continuity with earlier American coinage traditions. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Asparo, depicts the presidential seal, centered by a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and military readiness. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the States of the Union, while around the top edge appears the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many, one," a foundational expression of American unity that dates back to the nation's founding. Surrounding the reverse design are the inscriptions, "United States of America" and "half dollar," clearly identifying the issuing authority and denomination. The 1978 half dollar has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a reeded edge, and a weight of 11.34 grams, composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This clad construction gives the coin durability for circulation while maintaining a silver-like appearance. By the late 1970s, half dollars were no longer commonly used in everyday transactions, largely due to public hoarding, vending machine incompatibility, and changing spending habits, which makes the 1978 issue more often encountered in collections than in circulation. Although not considered rare, the coin holds educational and historical value, especially for collectors interested in modern U.S. coinage, presidential memorials, or the evolution of national mottos on currency. From a symbolic standpoint, the 1978 Kennedy half-dollar serves as a compact historical document. Kennedy's portrait reflects ideals of leadership, optimism, and public service associated with his presidency. Liberty emphasizes constitutional freedom. In God We Trust highlights moral tradition, and E Pluribus Unum reinforces unity among diverse states and people. In libraries, museums, and educational collections, the coin is often used to teach American history, civics, art, metallurgy, and economics, demonstrating how even a single circulating coin can embody layers of national identity, political memory, and artistic craftsmanship. While most 1978 half dollars are valued close to face value unless in uncirculated or proof condition, their true worth lies in their role as enduring symbols of American ideals, connecting the modern era to centuries of monetary tradition through enduring inscriptions, carefully chosen imagery, and the legacy of a president whose image continues to circulate in the hands and histories of the American people.